Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to a pre-10 p.m. Central edition, the Missing Wolves post-game podcast live stream thing. I'm your host, Andrew Dukowitz from Zone Coverage, and today we got Evan, the Daily Wolves, on
back.
all social medias and newly to the 10,000 Takes crew. How's it going,
Mm-hmm.
man?
It's going good. Appreciate the shout-outs with the guys with 10K Takes. It's been fun with them so far. Tons of fun doing stuff over there. For those who don't follow it, check it out. And then, of course, stuff that's going on in our other channels, Instagram, Twitter, anything like that. The Daily Wolves, always putting out fun stuff. And this is like the OG crew here from last year. I'm sure a lot of people remember and recognize us together, man.
Yeah, believe it or not, this is like the first time I've talked to you after a post game, other than just panic texting you or you texting me like, "What the f is going on?"
Yeah.
But you guys had an edit come out tonight, right?
Yep, made an Anthony Edwards edit. Super fun. Just something light, something fun. Just he's been playing so well over these last handful of games, so we just wanted to give Anthony Edwards his flowers, and I'm sure we'll talk about him at some point during this too.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of unavoidable that you talk about Ant with this team, but I kind of want to start going a different way here, as Cole says he's convinced Julius is trying to sell games. Ant picks up 2 quick fouls in the third quarter, and Jaylen Clarks comes in and just honestly kind of saves the game. Like, he only had 3 points in the third quarter, played 5.5 minutes, but looked awesome. I mean, what have your thoughts and kind of impressions been on just Jaylen Clarks so far this season?
Yeah, I mean, I love Jaylen Clarks. I think he's a fan favorite for many reasons. He's just like that Jared Vanderbilt of the past, just this guy who comes off the bench. He's like a spark plug, a little bit of Josh Okogie, just a little bit of recklessness, but fun. Kind of has that really like thick build that Josh Okogie used to have for the Timberwolves. And I feel like that's so important. Just the way he's already built. He's not getting pushed around at all. And you really see why he was one of the defensive players of the year in college, won that title over there with UCLA. And he was awesome tonight. I mean, 12 points for Clark. Now he's hit multiple threes in back-to-back games, which I think is also huge for the Timberwolves. Getting him, I feel like he was a little inconsistent from 3 earlier in the season. So getting him to be good from 3 will be so clutch for the Wolves. And you know what, Andrew, he's talked about it, right? He's mentioned that he knows his role on the team is to go out there, hustle, play defense, make those winning plays, but then be a spot up 3-point shooter and spread the floor. That's literally what he said, man.
Yeah, Jaylen's acutely aware that his role on this team is not not doing Anthony Edwards things. He is, if he wants to make it on this team, it's 40% 3-point shooter, really good defender. And I mean, to his credit, like with his, what was he? 2 for 3, 1 for 3, 2 for 6 tonight. He's up 36.6% on the season. Like that's not bad if your goal is to eventually get to 40, which, you know, is Jaylen Clarks ever going to be that? Who knows? But I think in games like tonight, you really see his value because I mean, let's just be honest. The Wolves didn't look like they were entirely interested in playing defense for most of the game.
Yeah, 100%. They've had this issue a lot of the season, so it's been just tonight. That's something they got to figure out, because I think all of us thought they were going to be a solid defensive team coming in here, and they haven't been really this year for parts and bits and pieces of the season. They're not horrendous on that side if you go look them up. I mean, but it's like Minnesota, if they want to take that next step, if they want to be elite, they're going to have to live on the defensive end. When you have Rudy Gobert, who's been holding his part down on defense this year, you have Jaden McDaniels, you need the other guys to step up too. And I think right now we're just waiting to see, is Anthony Edwards going to be consistent? Can he do that every night? I know we ask a lot of Ant, but can he be the two-way player? Jaylen Clarks provided really good defense. Naz Reid hasn't been that good of a defender this year. Definitely a little bit concerning on that part. Randle's looked disinterested most games. You need some other players to step up. I thought DiVincenzo's been average at best at defense too. So like right now, you know, even Rob comes out. He's not a great defender, but he at least tries. He goes out there and does what he can. So I appreciate that from Rob Dillingham. But right now, Minnesota's desperately. I think Terrence Shannon Jr. could be key, like later down in the season, of being a guy off the bench that could maybe play defense too.
Yeah, it's interesting with TJ because you know, when he went down injured, I think that just kind of like, for a lot of us, was like, oh, all right, that makes sense. He's hurt. Like that's why he looks so bad. And he's been fine, like defensively since he's come back. He's been fine. Ren mentions, they just started playing defense once the fourth quarter started because they noticed it
Mhm.
was a tie game. That's honestly what I felt like.
Spot
Like
on.
the intensity, the like attacking, even like Dante, like noticeably trying to fight over screens more. Like soon as the
Mhm.
fourth quarter
Mhm.
started, you could see like the Wolves were like kind of enough is enough. Let's win this. Which,
Yeah.
like, to your point of their defense kind of playing down to competition, I think is like a fair summary. Like it's the same team as last season. So what
Yep.
you had people like me and everyone else in the building getting told by the Wolves, hey, we're going to focus on all these little things. We're going to get better at all these little things. And like none of that's really happened. It really
Mhm.
feels like it's the exact same team as last year. The one thing I'll say though is again, Ren mentions we'll take the win because like this is a game the Wolves probably lose last year. Like Ants out the entire third quarter. They're pressuring them super hard in the fourth quarter. They probably lose this game a year ago. I mean, I feel pretty strongly about that. How about you?
Yeah, I think that's one of the parts of a little bit of like growing into like the maturity of being like a good team is I want to say like I feel like I don't want to word it like that, but like basically, teams in the past that we just were never one of those teams, right? It was always us playing against, we were the Pelicans, right? It was like
Yep.
flip-flop roles, right? And I feel like now that the Timberwolves are, I believe, still have a really talented roster. It just shows you how talented they are when they can really turn it on. They can kind of be lackadaisical for part of the game and then just turn it on out of nowhere, and they can come out and just win and steal a game. I felt like that's kind of like what we've seen from Minnesota a lot this season. And to Ren's point, my team has been, at least with the Daily Wolves, what I've said is I feel like there's a too cool for school kind of attitude with this team right now. And that's the whole thing, right? They kind of think we've been here before. We've done back-to-back West Finals. We're we've established this. We have this echelon. Teams respect us in the league, blah blah blah, and whatnot. We've got our contracts now. A lot of us. Now it's kind of like they turn it on at the end because they have to. They come out and play. But yeah, I was. It's been frustrating this year, but you see how talented this group is because when they
Yeah.
do turn it on, and it's been both Pelicans games. I mean, multiple games this year, but especially in the last two games, they look incredible at the end. They play defense. They're hustling. They're getting blocks. I mean, that Nas Reed block was awesome in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
I thought the physicality that Randall played with in the fourth quarter was awesome. Then he has that dunk that gets called basket interference, which it wasn't. But like after that, he came and he finished down. He
Yeah.
got physical. You could tell that he was pissed. And then Fears, Andrew, Jeremiah Fears, he's a shit talker. He was out there chirping. It seemed like this team of the young guys, they were talking smack all game. The Wolves got sick of it eventually, and
Yep.
and that's why you're seeing that ferocious dunk by Jaden McDaniels. Those were all things that like it all built up, and then they kind of, the Wolves put the foot on the gas.
It's like covering the Lynx and then the Wolves. It's almost spooky how similar the two teams are. Where like the
Hmm.
Lynx, there was a couple like Lynx fans that would post this after pretty much every game of like Lynx will just F around for three quarters and then boom, 10-0 run and the
Yep.
game's over. And that's kind of how the Wolves have been this year. Just they literally just I'm not, I mean, you know me, I'm never gonna say like their effort isn't there because like I don't know, like maybe they all just collectively have a bad cold at the exact same time, and that's why they're not as locked in. But like fourth quarter starts, all of a sudden Dante's flying around screens, all of a sudden Ant's getting into people,
Yep.
Jaden's picking
Yep.
pockets, Rudy's like being more emphatic towards the end of the game, Nas, Julius, like everyone ratchets it up. And like if you're looking at this team and it is frustrating because it's like if you just did this the first 15 minutes of the game, you guys could all just take the fourth quarter off and we could see Johan.
Hmm.
But at the same time, it's like it is kind of, for me, it's encouraging of like I think this team, to your point, is kind of too cool for the regular season. Like I do
Hmm.
think they feel like if they can just get into the playoffs without dealing with the play-in, they probably like their chances against everyone except for OKC. And even
Yep.
OKC, like it's weird being in the locker room because they're like not afraid of them at all. They like think last year was a
Hmm.
fluke and the officials helped them out, and this year they're gonna right that wrong. But man, when you're playing the Pelicans to a tie game through 3 quarters, it's awful hard to see like the end of the season, which I mean, I just looked it up. If the Wolves just didn't vomit over themselves against Phoenix and they didn't vomit over themselves against Sacramento, if they just held those wins, they're the 2 seed.
That's nuts. I
That's
mean,
insane. Like that's how good this team is they are
yes,
2
yes.
historic meltdowns away from being the 2 seed.
That's what I've been trying to like. As much as like I will rant about him this year, I've told people too is like this team has all the talent. They are a good team. They literally are. And for a while there, they were top 10 in offensive and defensive rating for a little bit. I
Still
mean,
are.
there's
Yep.
oh, they still are perfect. So
Yep.
that's a perfect example where like again, like stats don't lie. Like the teams that make it usually into the final four, at least go deep in the playoffs, especially with teams that win finals. They usually are top 10 in both. And so that's what Minnesota really needed. Sometimes I feel like it's been so glaring of the inconsistencies of certain players, it's been certain quarters that I feel like that's where we all get lost and carried away with it. The timeout usage, everything like that, that fans want. And then I think just the want for like the point guard, the need for the fans, for everybody right now, it like sometimes I feel like when it's glaring, it goes on to the coach, it goes on to Finch so much.
Mhm.
So and it goes on to what you see around the social media sphere, I feel like is it's the point guard and it's Finch. Is that what you see kind of going around too a lot?
Yeah, I mean, first I just want to Professor adds a good point here of just
Yeah.
Dante. I will agree. Like Dante is an above average defender. I think he is like an excellent defender for like 7 minutes in a game, and then he's fine to good the rest of it. But when he's really like beginning
Hmm.
of the fourth quarter tonight, overtime, the game prior, like when he's really locked in, like that guy can blow up game plans. Godfrey also just mentions here, Lynx and Wolves have good coaches, help them win. Mid-tier talent will get exposed in the playoffs. I mean, what I think I would push back on that is like, I think the Wolves talent is like good enough to win in a year where Oklahoma City gets hurt. Like, I think if you're looking at like the Wolves and
Yeah.
Houston, like the Wolves objectively probably have more roster talent. Like the Wolves in Denver are probably pretty close. The
Hmm.
East right now is a mess. Like Giannis
Hmm.
is asking out potentially.
Hmm.
Boston's injured. Like
Yep.
Cleveland isn't as dominant as I think people thought. Like the Wolves roster is like good enough. It's just like Oklahoma City will expose them again. Like, I don't think they're at that level. But
Yeah, that's true.
Ev- Evan, kind of back to your question of just, this team, I think it came into this season and I think they thought they would be able to just kind of bowl over teams and things would be different and
Hmm.
these guys would come together and kumbaya and all of that stuff. And they have, like, this team's a tight knit group. They all like each other, like top to bottom. The roster seems to get along really well. But there's been these rough patches. And I think it's really easy to point at the point guard and say, that's your problem. Like you're starting Dante DiVincenzo at point guard. But like Finch has kind of come out and just said it at this point of like Ant is their point guard. Like
Hmm.
they are now embracing the James Harden, Luka Doncic, Shea Gilgeous, like our best player is just our point guard.
Hmm.
And there's nights like tonight where he's getting doubled the entire night and he's making the right play and people are just bricking shots that I think some people will point to that and say, that's why you need a point guard. If you had a point guard, Ant could be off ball. That point guard could bring the ball up. The point guard could set it up, kick it over to Ant on a second option, and Ant could just cook. But like, they kind of have that with Julius too. Like,
Hmm.
when they don't have Ant bring the ball up and they have like Mike bring it up or Rob bring it up and kick it over to Julius and they run the offense through Julius, like dude's scoring 30 points pretty consistently. He's getting 5 to 8 assists pretty consistently. I just don't like my pushback on the point guard thing is just like, if you're going to give up Julius to get a point guard, I don't know if it's really going to help anything. It's still going to be very your turn, my turn, unless you get 29-year-old Mike Conley, or unless Dane and Britt were talking on their pod today, like you get Tony Parker, who just has this innate ability to understand like how to get everyone involved. And those guys are like, they don't come around very often, right?
Yeah, of course.
So, and then it comes on to Finch because, you know, you're having Anthony Edwards, who is like an all-world top 5 player in the NBA, but now he's learning how to play a different position, which we saw it in the fourth quarter tonight. He just jumps up in the air and falls down and gets a turnover. He tries to throw a pass across court and gets picked off, and like Jaden has to save him. Those things are probably going to happen for the next 2 or 3 years if you're following the James Harden model. It happened in Houston. Look at Luka's turnovers and some of Luka's stuff from 2.5 years ago in Dallas. Like, it wasn't all roses like it is now. It's just kind of the growing pains. So then it's kind of like, well, are you mad because we don't have a point guard? If so, like, how does that fix things? And if you're mad because it's Finch, like, what's he kind of supposed to do?
Yeah,
Almost.
yeah. I feel like he can't do a lot because you have, like you said, you have Dante out there starting at point guard, who isn't really a playmaker, which they know.
Yeah.
But they, like you said, the vision is for Anthony Edwards and Randall to kind of do that. And Dante's out there for the size. I think the agility, the youth and experience, along with that being a veteran, but also having the youth on his side versus
Mhm.
Mike Conley being the starter, which I think it was just time to put Mike Conley, or have Mike Conley come off the bench, I should say. So
100%.
uh, yeah, so I feel like having Dante out there made a ton of sense, and he's a phenomenal 3-point shooter, can run the floor. So I'm like, perfect, like that makes total sense. It's really more so, in my opinion, because that starting lineup has been phenomenal. I think Jim Pete said they're like the third best starting 5 in the NBA right now, or something on the
Mhm.
broadcast tonight. And it's Rob Dillingham and Mike Conley, the guys off the bench, that's been all over the place right now, not giving him that like consistent point guard off the bench. But speaking of that as well, like Mike Conley wasn't the best tonight. 1 of 7 for Conley. Thought he really struggled. But I
Tough
thought Rob
night game.
Dillingham, yeah, but I thought Rob Dillingham was awesome tonight. And he gets a lot of hate. Sometimes I hate on him. But I think he was great tonight. There's only one thing you can do. You can give players their flowers. And I thought Rob was instrumental and huge in this game. I thought he played phenomenal defense as well. It wasn't just offense. He had 8 points tonight. I thought the pace picked up when he was on the floor. He had a nice little lob as well. And I just thought
Mhm.
Rob played. I thought he was like an energizer bunny. Like him and Jaylen Clark kind of had this like early spark off the bench. TJ filled the hole like just a slight little bit. And then Nas Reed just came out of nowhere and just went nuts and finished it all off.
I want to acknowledge, mini sports fan, neither SGA or Brunson or pure point guards either. Like, I'll be honest, like I
Mhm,
think like what I've been kind of like kicking around in my mind is like,
mhm,
all right, so let's say Ant is the point guard of this team. Then you need to build this team like Houston built around Harden,
mhm,
like New York built around Brunson, like Oklahoma City built around SGA, where you just need defenders and 3-point gunners. And like, that's kind of, if you're looking at this
mhm,
roster up and down, that's kind of what they have now, especially with,
mhm,
you know, Jalen, TJ, and Nas being the 5 or 6, 7, 8 guys off the bench, and Dante being in starter. Like, I do think you're right on with, like, they're following that model. Mini sports fans. To Rob, like I've been kind of like, I just have like notes while I'm watching a game, and at the end of the game, without looking at the stats, I'll just put a check mark of, was Rob my phrasing is, was Rob fine or above or bad and below?
okay,
And
yeah,
he has had 6 consecutive fine games. Like,
he's been playing better.
I don't think he's going to have fine games if he's playing 32 minutes a game. Like, I just think if he's a bigger part of the scout and the game plan, like, opposing teams are going to figure out how to blow him up. But
Mhm.
at 8 minutes a night, like, he's handling that role fine. I mean, 3 times tonight. Scroll over to the turnovers, 0 turnovers. Like that's great.
He's awesome.
I think even like the Wolves and Mike would kind of probably agree with this of just like if Mike is getting 8 to 12 minutes by the end of the season, I think that would be the goal for this team.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Mike's body just can't
Yeah.
do it. Like I think that dude probably feels miserable after these games because he can't do it. Like he can't cut he still slips these screens like really well, but you can just tell it's like banging on his hips and his knees. Like he still is I think if Mike is your 8th guy on your bench, like he's probably the best 8th guy in the league, but he can't be more than that. Like it just his body can't do it, which that's the tough part about being in your almost 40s in the NBA.
Yeah, I mean, we just saw it. Chris Paul just went out, got waived by the Clippers. I mean, obviously some of the locker room stuff too, but I mean, when he was playing, he didn't look good, and he's an older point guard as well. LeBron is even slowing down right now. We saw that tonight.
His
Time
streak of 10 points per game ended tonight.
Yeah, and
he's been
it's just age, right? And that's just how it is in the NBA. And it's like I can't even imagine being 40 years old. And I can't even imagine being 40 and playing in like the NBA. I mean, I can't even imagine like right now I'm young enough where I'm like, man, I don't even want to walk down the staircase and be 40. So I can't imagine being a professional athlete and going up against Jeremiah Fears, this like super athletics rookie that can run 4.6 or something ridiculous record speed or something. I don't even know. So
and then you're Mike Conley, who has this encyclopedia in his brain of just like these are the angles I need to take. This is what I need to do, and picks are coming
have
at
a
me.
chance. It's crazy.
And it's like again, you look at him on the bench. I mean, how many minutes did he actually play tonight? I probably should have looked that up.
17.
17 minutes tonight, and he has like an ice pack on his thigh, an ice pack on his both knees, an ice pack on his ankle, a back brace. Like,
good God,
he's still like a solid NBA rotation player, but like I really think if the Wolves like had a say, or they could just predict what's going to happen, it would be Rob is just good by the end of the year. Evan, I'm going to run us over to a couple quick ad reads here, and then we'll come back and chat a little bit more about the Pelicans game, and then talk a little bit about just like where the Wolves are in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, let's do it.
Well, hello. Thank you, Livestream Andrew. This is Ad Read Andrew. And today we have Firehawk Construction and Remodeling, the presenting sponsor for the Missing Links podcast. Firehawk Construction and Remodeling strives to inspire people to follow their ideas, working with respect and understanding to create a quality, tailored result. Firehawk Construction and Remodeling, located in Blaine and serving in the North Metro area, is here to help you with your building and remodeling needs. I can say personally, thanks to Firehawk Construction and Remodeling, I have a beautiful deck in my backyard, and countless projects that I started, they finished. Get started on your new deck or remodel today by calling Isaac at 763-710-5686. And we're back with another ad read. This time for Pence Homes, the presenting sponsor of Hitting the Hardwood Network. From the best tools and technology to transparency throughout the entire process, Nate Pence and the Pence Homes team is the top choice for buyers, sellers, and is proud to support you and your home ownership goals. Get started today by calling 612-308-1122 or by emailing info@pencehomes.com. I completely changed my mind while the ads were reading. Let's talk about the Wolves and where they're at, because I'm looking at the standings. They're 2 games behind the Lakers for the 2 seed. And they play that. I mean, they got the Clippers and Suns next at home, which theoretically, wins. But more importantly, they got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 out of their next 8 and 8 out of their next 10 at home, with games against powerhouses such as the Nets, the Giannis-less Bucks, the Grizzlies, who are just floundering, the Kings, the Suns, and the Clippers. I mean, how realistic is it that this is? I mean, we're looking at December 29th, and this is just the 2 seed Wolves.
It's really realistic, to be honest with you. Because like we talked about earlier, if this team gets just a little bit more consistency, it's not even a lot. It's which is sad. It's
I
just a little
know.
bit. It's just a little bit more. Honestly, even if they did it for probably one more quarter, like guaranteed, and they played their ass off. Let's just say they were horrendous in the first half, and they were always just a third and fourth quarter, just gods instead of just the fourth quarter. Like they probably win all the games. That's
Yep.
that's insane. And then you just when you look at everything, why I tell people it's realistic too, and why Minnesota is so special is not just because this is literally a non-biased opinion, even though it sounds like it. Anthony Edwards, and when he's on your team, he's just and what he's doing this season, it is really special. I mean, he's taken his game to another level. His scoring is up at the 30-point mark, and it would have been even higher if he didn't have that injury and then kind of get taken out early. And then he kind of gets a return game where he drops a little bit lower of a number. I know tonight he had only 11 points, foul trouble, but like other than that, I mean, if you don't have those couple hiccups, I mean, this guy's averaging over 30 points a game, and he's been amazing. 38 points a game in the last 6 before tonight. Incredible shooting efficient. His 2-point jump shot is finally an efficient shot too. I think before tonight he was like 49% or something like that. So that's a phenomenal difference from what he was before. He's shooting 73% at the rim, which is something we've harped on. Get to the rim, finish at the rim too. I think all those things, and it's just getting into shape. And if he's playing at that level, and you can get like the team to just buy in a little bit more, there's no reason why Minnesota shouldn't be the 2 seed because he's playing at an MVP level. He's probably maybe the 4th best player in the NBA at that point, maybe somewhere around there. You could argue 3 to 5 in that range probably if he's playing like that. But I feel like that just takes your whole team to a new level. I think Randall's been really eye-opening this year too. Slowed down of late a little bit, but like Andrew, Randall's been amazing this year. He's been an all-star player. He's played all NBA. And like honestly, like, Randall's gonna make the all-star team if he keeps playing this way. He really is. They're gonna have 2 all-stars
He's
from
gonna make
Minnesota,
an all
man.
NBA team if he keeps playing this way. Like
Yeah.
If you're looking at Randall and how he's played this season and the end of last season, I don't even know if you'd get Dante in that trade if they ran it back. Like
You wouldn't.
You just get Cat for Randall. Like no Detroit pick, no
Or maybe a pick, but like you would not get Dante on that contract.
Randall's been awesome, which that's again like the pushback to the like Fire Finch crowd is like, this is Julius Randle, the guys that New York pretty much drove to the airport, like that is putting together triple doubles. Godfrey mentions right now Wolves are playing Houston. If the playoffs were tomorrow, you think the Wolves win that series? I think the Wolves would win against Houston, but like I don't think it would be like a 5-game series. Like I think I think it would be a 6 or 7 game series. Wolves wouldn't have home court. Like I do think the Wolves have more talent than Houston though. Like I do understand like Şengün breakout season. He's awesome. Kevin Durant can score at will. Thompson is awesome. Like I get it, but like I just think the Wolves have the edge on them. And maybe it comes down to the Wolves vomit over themselves 4 times in late game situations and it's just over. But like I do want to get to your Anthony Edwards point, Evan, of just like Ant from 2-point range after tonight, 55% from 2. So that includes at the rim, not just mid-range. He's shooting 42% from 3, 49% from field goal range overall, drawing almost 5 fouls a game. Like the dude is on a ridiculous like tear. I do think I'd probably throw him at 5th. Like I think what I'm
that's most reasonable.
See in the playoffs is my top 4 in no particular order are Jokic, Shea, Giannis, Luka are kind of the 4 I would put ahead of him.
Yeah.
Like 3 of those guys play in the West if Ant comes out and knocks the Lakers out of the playoffs again, I think you start having that conversation. If Ant knocks the Nuggets out, or if they somehow knock Oklahoma City out, like, then you're having that conversation of like, oh God, is Ant just the best guy in the league? Which he's getting there super far ahead of schedule.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think you're spot on of like, the reason to believe in the Wolves this year is Ants. I mean, we have no clue what his you think about it, he's getting doubled every game relentlessly. Every
Yep.
pick and roll, he's getting doubled, every post up. There's one tonight where he got doubled like on the catch, and he just like whipped a cross court pass to Nas in the far corner and just hit it for three. And it's like, that's a shooting guard making that pass. Like,
It's insane.
he's doing this with all of that. Like, if Julius continues on his tear, if Jaden continues where he's at, this is going to be a legitimately tough team to beat in the playoffs. I do think, and Godfrey, I'm throwing this bone to you because I know you have your Rudy Gobert thoughts, but I do think
Yep.
if there is something that can slow them down, it would be, what do you do with Rudy in the playoffs?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because Nas has not been very good defensively. Jaden's experimented with like the small ball five in the zone, but that's more of like a gimmick than an actual thing.
Yeah.
And Rudy, we've had enough sample size where like Oklahoma City knows how to get Rudy off the floor. Like, he
Yeah.
barely could play in that series, which, what are your thoughts kind of long term on the Rudy situation?
Yeah. I think in the regular season, obviously Gobert is super important to the team. I think he's you could argue one of the most important players this year for the Timberwolves. I mean, if you look at the ratings when he's off the floor and when he's on, it's speaks for himself. I know it's not pretty, it's not sexy, it's definitely not. In the playoffs, it's very concerning for sure. I am very worried, especially because Naz Reid's been regressing on the defensive end and kind of like his I know we've heard it before in other pods and around, but it's true. I mean, he's kind of turning into a 3 more than a 5, and I think
Yeah.
like he's just getting lighter. And if he wants to do that, and that's where his career's going, then okay, but you got to adjust to that, and that means you're going to need you need a backup big. And right now, I think Minnesota needs a backup big, and that's almost where I'd put Minnesota's need more than going out and getting like a point guard or necessarily having to trade for a star point guard. Maybe they go look for some kind of a big and go get that at the trade deadline. I'm not sure who that would be or what it would be, but like if you're gonna go get something, maybe getting a big that can come and do some stuff is something Minnesota should look at, because we all love Johan Berenjay, of course, everyone does, but he's just not ready right now, and that's, you can't throw a 19-year-old kid, barely 19, into an action when he barely speaks English right now, and he's still just heads on a swivel, right? Still trying to understand why we do all this silly stuff in America over here.
Well, and first Spencer mentions Rudy's tumble
Yeah,
today. Yeah, that was tough. Mini sports fan, I agrees. I mean, Johan's versatility, rim running, he does have
yeah,
like a good mid-range, like a good, like, seeing him practice it. It's not like Rudy will practice threes. Like, I think it was Marnie Gellner, Aaliyah Olsen
ugh,
was talking about it when he shot it the other night. Like, Rudy shoots threes in practice, and he in practice is probably a 40% three-point shooter, which is like mind-blowing that Rudy Gobert can be that good at something and never be allowed to do it.
yeah,
Johan like legitimately looks comfortable like shooting mid-range shots, like whether it's off of like pick and pops, whether it's just kind of little pull-up things. Like, I think that will be part of him. But to your point, everything I hear about him is that he just fouls everything. Like, he jumps at everything, he tries to block everything. He doesn't really understand like a set defensive like scheme. It's all instincts, which you throw that out there for 8 minutes, just like Rob, it's probably good. But if he's like in a playoff rotation, it's going to be everybody just going at Johan and pump
it's,
faking until he jumps and then drawing a foul. And he gets
yeah,
5 fouls in 6 minutes and then is out of the game for it. So It is tough. Spencer says don't sleep on the 7'3" Rocco. He's doing good in Iowa. That's what I'll say. Like, super nice kid. I like him. The few interactions I've had, he's a really nice guy. But he's almost the opposite. He's like really understanding and in the right place a lot of the time, but he's just, because he's 7'3", he looks really big, but that guy is like Jaden McDaniels skinny. Like, he's
He
someone
is
that
real
would
skinny.
almost break in half. But I do agree. Like, I think if I were like in the Wolves brass, I would be going after a backup big that maybe doesn't play every night, but like
Yeah,
on those nights where you just need some versatility and size that Rudy can't bring you, like, you have it, which right now they don't have it. It's if
they
Rudy's
don't.
having a bad game, kind of sucks. We got to go with either Nas and just outscore him, or go through Rudy having a bad game, which neither of those are great ideas at the moment.
And when Nas and Julius are on the court together, they've looked horrendous in the defensive end, I thought, this year. Like, it's like,
Yeah.
I don't even, we shouldn't even say defense. It's not even being played at that point. There is no defense.
You need
They,
like
yeah,
Jaden and Jaylen and Mike out there just to like mitigate people getting free runs at the basket,
yeah,
which
which
I
is
mean that
hard too.
what's that?
Yeah, that's hard to do when there's all these things going on. You have to
I
do all these,
know.
and that's Finch's problem, which is like, it's a problem he's trying to figure out, and it's almost impossible. That's why I know everyone's has their opinions on Finch, but I mean, it's really hard to figure out because the roster right now, as you can see, it's just not balanced. I
Yeah.
mean, basically the whole season too, they really haven't had a bench. Nas
No.
Reed has only came on of late, which we talked about before we were on the live, which he's been awesome lately. But before Nas Reed was playing like that, I mean, they literally didn't have a
No.
bench, right?
Mike's had a couple. Mike, I mean, out of what, the 20 something games they've played, he's had like 5 good games. Rob's been fine or bad most games.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say he's been fine more than bad for all the like Dilling Hive out there. Like, I
Yeah,
still have faith. And TJ before the injury was just bad. Like, he
yeah, it
was just
was.
objectively bad. So Jaylen, I guess you could say, was
But he wasn't
okay.
scoring. You know what I mean?
But
He's a
he can't,
defender,
right.
so it's like,
His season high of 12 points was tonight. So it has been a really, like, the fact that this team is just 2 games out of the 2 seed,
that's
and
how
they
good their starting five is, though, Andrew. That
right,
is how
like,
good. That's why you should hope, right? That is why you
yeah,
should hope. Because if the bench figures it out and they make a move, which is probably a move on the margins, like we talked about, they could be really good, man. They could be
yeah,
really good. Yeah.
they're I would say even if they don't make a move, like, I still think they'll be really good. Like, I think they'll still be, like, before the season I said, 2 seed. I still think they'll be 2, 3, or 4.
Okay.
Maybe not 2 seed, just because Denver, I think, is
Yeah, they look
significantly
good.
they're significantly better than I kind of expected them to. I didn't really buy into the whole, like, oh, Tim Hardaway, Cam Johnson, and all of this stuff. But,
Mm.
like, I do think they'll have home court the first round. And if gun to my head, I'd say I'd still take the Wolves for the 2 seed, just because, like, they have those floor raisers like Rudy, like Jaylen, like Dante, that are just going to give a bleep every game. That being said, if they could flip Rob into like a
Oh,
serviceable backup center, or if they're
yeah.
not a second apron team, so anybody that makes under $11 million that gets bought out after the trade deadline, the Wolves can sign for the veterans minimum. So, like, name your backup center that gets bought
There'll be
out.
somebody.
The
Yeah.
Wolves are prime spot for that. They currently have a roster spot open. Like, they have the 3 million to sign them. So
Hmm.
I do think there's something that they will do. I don't know how big it'll be, but, like,
Yeah. Yeah. Of course.
if they can just, again, like, if it's just a serviceable Jock Londell, like, from the Grizzly,
Yeah.
I think he's on the
Yeah.
Grizzlies now. Like, there you go. Big guy, can stretch the floor a
Logan.
little bit, pretty good
He
on his
looks like
feet, can
he
play
looks
8
like
minutes.
Logan Paul.
Another Australian to
Oh,
Spencer's
perfect.
Australian connection.
Let's
Um,
go.
Cole, I am going to close. I'll let Evan answer this too, but I'm going to close the pod with this one of just
Okay,
this
cool.
is not a championship level team. I think Oklahoma City is the only championship level team in the league this year. Like their record speaks for themselves, their depth, their play style, they bring it every night.
Mm-hmm.
Like if it was Oklahoma City or the Field, I would bet Oklahoma City if I was in Vegas right now. Like that's how good they have looked. Shea twists his ankle. I think the Wolves are right in that next tier, which
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that's all you can do, right? Like when Golden State had Steph Curry, Clay, Durant, and Green, all you can do is trade for Kawhi and hope that somebody twists an ankle. Like sometimes that is the reality of the NBA is you just gotta keep throwing your hat in there and keep trying. But I will agree, like objectively, I don't think I think Oklahoma City probably beats them in 5 again, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Evan, where are you kind of at on the championship level side of it?
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as you are. I think there's just no one that can compete with the Thunder when they're healthy right now. They're phenomenal from front to back. Like you said, they don't have a weakness really, and they play hard every night. And they somehow found another guy this year who's been playing. You know what I mean? He's been Mitchell or whatever. Has been playing awesome in their
Yep.
starting lineup. So it's like it just never ends with the Thunder. They're going to be good. They have a million picks too. If anybody becomes available, they like if Giannis if they really wanted Giannis, they could go get him if he became available, right? I mean, they could be like, oh, that's cute. You guys are offering 5. Well, we got 17 or whatever.
Here's
I don't know.
here's Jalen Williams, an all-star 24-year-old, and 12 first-round picks.
Yeah, like if they want to
No
do
one
it,
can counter that.
no one can counter them. That's what I'm saying. It's like it's ridiculous. So you're right. Like you just got to hope for a tweak here and there. And in sports, even the good teams,
Yep.
always something happens in sports. It's so hard in the NBA. It's so hard in sports to do like a three-peat, as an example. Teams dream of three-peating. I know people have done it, but it's so tough. You might see the 2 in a row, but there's going to be a window there. And it still lines up in Ant's timeline, Jaden, Nas Reed, all these guys. There's going to be a time in there something could happen, and it can happen to anybody any day. That's just how sports is. That's why sports betting's not 100% right. Doesn't matter. Anybody can come out and win anytime, and you could be this close from hitting a parlay, and then boom, there goes your guy. So yeah, man, I think you're right. You're spot on, Andrew. The Wolves are in the next tier. I think they're still phenomenal. I think they need a little bit of things. I think we might see a little bit of Johan Berenger at some point this season too, potentially. I think they might give them a little bit of run if they don't go out and do something with the big, just to kind of test it later on, or maybe if Nas gets banged up or Randall, which is probably bound to happen at one of the bigs, or
Yep.
just somebody is going to get a
Someone
little
will
bit
get
banged
hurt.
up. Just somebody, yeah, it's just normal, right? Even if it's not
Yep.
serious. So I think that is the crucial part of everyone who's watching. That's like, oh my God, we want Baron J. I think he's going to get a shot. It just kind of depends. Will he take advantage of it? Because if he does, I mean, I think the kid is phenomenal. We all watched him in summer league. God, he's special. He's a really great talent. So I hope he gets a shot. I hope he can stick in the lineup and just become that player where it's like every time he plays, you just are like impressed, and Finch is like, I have to keep playing him. I have to give him. I have to make some room for him. I mean, we'll see. See
Yeah.
what we'll say. We'll see.
I mean, with Johan,
Yeah.
at some point he is going to be going to Iowa. I would assume, like just even like Rob and
Yeah.
TJ played a couple games in Iowa last year. Like at
Got
some
to get
point
run.
he'll be in Iowa, and that guy is going to jump off the page because like he is next level, just baseline athlete, and his instincts are there.
Hmm.
It's just right now, it's just such a difficult like for the people that are the Finch never plays his young guys. Like Finch played Jaden, and Jaden's like still a young guy, but like Jaden was starting when he was 20, 21. Like Nas has been in the rotation for 3 years. Like Ant, he didn't really have a choice, but like Jaden was like a mid-20s first round pick. Like
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
you can prove to Finch that you're not going to be just catastrophic on the floor, I'd say. Like I do think
That's a
like
good
the
point.
Rob stuff, like when you're looking at Rob, and he has games like tonight, it's like, man, I wish he could get more minutes. But it's like, if he got 8 more minutes and was on a scouting report, he'd have 4 turnovers a game. Like, it's just, no one's paying attention to the Rob Dillingham minutes right now, including the other team, because like he's only going to be playing against a backup point guard for the most part, and like easy. Like Jaylen Clark, I think is cemented in that 8-man rotation. He's 22. TJ's in that 8-man rotation. He's 25, 26. I do think Johan, if he can prove that he's figuring that stuff out, like if he can prove like, hey, I'm not going to get 4 fouls in 3 minutes and mess up the entire quarter, I think he gets playing time. Like,
I think he does too.
It sounds like everyone likes him. It's just the main drawback is the dude's really, really raw. I mean, if you're gonna sub him in at the beginning of the second quarter and he gets 3 fouls in 4 minutes, like, all right, cool, we're 2 away from the bonus, and now we don't have a backup center.
It could go terribly wrong. And it's also like he just started, like, I know everyone's heard the spiel, but I mean, the kid just started playing basketball 4 years ago, now almost 5 years ago. Didn't even grew up playing soccer his whole life. Played because his shoes didn't fit anymore, so he decided to start playing basketball. It was the only shoes they could get. And like, think about that. Like all these other guys who get drafted, most of them, they have played basketball their whole lives. So he's still, even though he has those instincts, he needs a little bit more time. Also, we all know playing overseas is so different than the professional level. So different. So, I mean, I remember
playing against Slovenians that had full-time jobs on the side.
Yeah, and it's like
it wasn't even the Euro League; it was the Slovenian League.
You come here, and all of a sudden, everyone's moving up. Like over there, he was probably the like most elite guy on the floor pretty much every night, as in like athleticism, stuff like that. He comes here, and it's like, why can everyone move as fast as me? Why, you know what I mean? Everybody's fast. There's no one slow. Everyone's insane. Even the guy at the end of the bench. And you're just like, what? Like, yeah. So it's just insane. I mean, these are the top tier athletes. So he needs a little bit of time. And I think it's awesome that Gobert's here. That's something that I feel like is really underlooked too, that Rudy's French, can help Johan, who's French, and, you know, similar
backgrounds. They both kind of came from nothing, started playing basketball late. It's funny because they have lockers next to each other, and they're both eating their like protein quinoa bowls next to each other because Rudy's like cooking for the kid. Like it's honestly kind of endearing.
He's the son.
I do want to. I lied. I do. Just Cole has had a couple chats here of just
let's do it.
Johan not going to see the floor with Grinch coaching. We didn't have a better option than Jayden back then. That's
so
why
funny.
Jayden was starting, and Finch is the main drawback. I mean, what I'll say is like, if Finch, let's say they get to the playoffs and they lose in the first round this year, and then next year they like pull the trigger and they trade Julius and Dante and some of their young assets, that I think the 2034 pick becomes available this offseason. Like they pull the trigger on kind of the last deal they can make with their assets. They consolidate everything back together, and they get like Trae Young. Rudy gets dealt somewhere else, and you have an offense with like Trae Young, Jayden, Nas, Ant, and fill in your center that they pick up. And it's this ideal roster. Like, I think if they start slow or if they disappoint again next year, Finch is probably gone. Like, whether he does a really good job, whether the locker room still loves him, like at some point, every GM makes a coaching change. And for Finch, after next year, it'll be 8 seasons here in Minnesota. If it's 2 Western Conference final bids and then 2 exits in the first round, like, yeah, he's out of here. Like, that's just the reality of it. I mean, I just think, you know, he's in a spot where I think Finch is less. I'll put it this way. Like, I think Finch is more of like a John Harbaugh than a Kevin O'Connell. Like, Finch lets Pablo run a lot of the offensive stuff, lets Mike and Nori run a lot of the defensive stuff. And he is there to make sure that like the buy-in and chemistry is good. and he will take over offensive stuff. And like, of course they run like his principles and stuff like that, but like, that's why you hire assistant coaches that kind of agree with you, is so you know that they're going to follow like how you like to run an offense. Like, until the chemistry really starts cracking, like I think Finch is still kind of doing his job.
Yeah.
If the chemistry, like, let's say we're talking February 1st, and this is a 500 team, and Johnny Athletic and me and Chris and Dane and all the guys are putting out stories about how the locker room is dead silent after wins and everyone hates each other. Then it's like, all right, well, what's Finch doing? Like, he is supposed to be bringing in buy-in and it's not happening. But I think right now the biggest problem that the Wolves have is that the Wolves just want the playoffs to start tomorrow.
Yeah, no, you're right, and I don't think Finch is a bad coach. I mean, he took him to 2 Western Conference Finals back-to-back years. Believed in the Julius Randle experiment. It worked so far.
Yeah.
Got Rudy Gobert, bought in with Tim Conley in that trade, figured it out, got it to work. Right? I mean,
It's tough.
it's tough. He's done a pretty good job. I mean, I know he gets a lot of like hate, and he does make mistakes, and he does, guys. He definitely makes mistakes for sure.
Admittedly infuriating. Like,
it is.
I
It's pretty
also
bad.
don't understand that.
That's bad. But like, everyone's gonna have their things they do that are just gonna, like, even Anthony Edwards, even how great he is as a player, he still does. Look at it tonight. Just 4 fouls right away. I don't know if he was tired from putting the team on his back or playing for a whole second half and overtime, but he just looked like he was like, hey, I'm tired. I'm trying to let me grab this guy real quick so I can go sit on the bench. I don't know. But everyone's gonna have their inconsistencies. I wonder if like Mike Malone would be someone, if they ever were, like, if it was ever open. I wonder if that tie going back with Tim Conley, Denver, Tim, I don't know if they have a relationship, because I know he got obviously eventually taken out of Denver, but Tim was already gone. But I'm like, I don't know if Mike Malone's his guy or anything, but we're getting into the rant. That's way off topic now.
I mean, like, I think that's an off-season trigger.
Yeah.
Like, I think as long as the team still bought in for Chris, you run it. Now, Cole, I will agree with this, of like, I think it's fair for fans to have like trust issues with Finch,
It's
because
fair.
like it is really like it's hard to explain, because like Finch, he falls on the sword every time. Like, if he draws something up late game and like someone doesn't understand it, he'll come out there and be like, I should have done a better job communicating. If he draws something up late game and a player just decides to go completely rogue and do 3 dribbles between the legs and a step back 3, number 5 is notorious for that. Finch will still say like, I got to drop a better play. I got to do better. And it's like, well, you didn't really, like, we don't even know what your play was, because it just never got ran. Like, but I do think because he is so apt to fall on the sword, same with like roster things of like, you know, like, why didn't you play so and so at this minute? Like, Finch will always say like, yeah, in hindsight, I really should have, like, this, that, and the third. And then he doesn't really change it. And I think that does wear thin on like a trust factor. But like, between him taking more blame than he should and the timeout things, those are really the only things I have that I'm like annoyed with Finch sometimes. We'll close with this one. Just Godfrey saying, historically, organizations scapegoat Finch for the second worst trade in NBA history and subsequent playoff disappointment. That I'll be completely honest. Like, again, Oklahoma City is in this league. Realistically speaking, the Wolves don't win a championship this year. Realistically speaking, they probably don't even win one next year. Maybe 3 years from now they're winning a championship, but like, I think the odds favorite is not going to be the Wolves this year or next year. And Finch does probably get scapegoated, and they do probably say like, oh, the Rudy trade is why like this didn't work and Chris couldn't figure it out. And like every GM usually gets one coach fire, and then the GM gets tossed with the second coach, as we see, like in Denver and stuff like that. So like, honestly, Godfrey, in the long run, you might be right on this one, as Finch gets scapegoated at some point, but until that happens, Happy's around. Nice guy. Evan, I do want to give you a chance, though. Anything you got coming out over with the Daily Wolves? Anything you want to promote? Anything you want to plug before we get out of here?
Yeah, let's see. Looking for some giveaways coming up within the month of December. We'll do like a Christmas giveaway of some sort. I don't know what it's going to be yet, but we're looking to do like a giveaway, maybe 2. Get some Christmas giveaways. So let people check that out. Obviously, it's always for the followers. Shout out to everyone for sure getting it up on that. I think we got some. We've been doing some stuff with 10K takes recently. We went to the Wild game. Shout out to the Wild for hooking us up with that. And we started doing some Vikings watch parties with 10K takes. If you don't follow them, you can go follow them as well. They post where the Vikings watch parties are. It's a ton of fun. And then their beer sponsor, Captain's Patch, is always out there too. So people can get cheaper beer, meet everybody on the team. They're always shooting content. It's a ton of fun. Get some interviews, and they're usually giving out some stuff, or there's some deals on food or drinks. So it's a ton of fun. I think there's some more of those coming up. And then I know they have a winter event coming up here, I think in the beginning of January. So keep your eye out for that as well, especially if you're a hockey fan. That's what I'll say too. I know we're on a basketball podcast, but we are still a sports is all one. And I always say we're all a team here. We're a Minnesota sports community, man.
Exactly. And the Wild are good this year. So we'll
they're fun.
The Wild.
They got that goalie. They got that goalie Jesper out there showing up. So someone's got to do it. It looks like the Timberwolves and the Wild are holding down for the Vikings right now. So someone's got to do it.
Yeah, that's tough. On that note, before we get into talking Vikings, thanks everyone for listening. If you popped into the podcast late, it is going to be up on YouTube in about 5 minutes here. It'll live on forever on X, and it gets released as a audio pod wherever you get your podcast. Tomorrow morning, that'll be December 5th at 7 a.m. And we'll be back after the wonderful game against the Clippers. Woof, that one might be a tough one to watch, because it's probably going to be very similar to the last 2 that we've seen, where the Wolves let them hang around, but at least it's at home. So we'll be back after the Clippers game. And until then, as Evan always says, we'll steal your catch line. Go Wolves.
Go Wolves.